So hey guys, this is Ash from HealMyPc 99. Today I've got the owner of the Cosmos 2, the disastrous gaming build for £1,800, which you can see the video for in the link below, or I'm going to try to put it on the side. He's actually qualified as a car mechanic and he's now going for his bus driver mechanic. Hopefully we wish him best of luck. So he's here today to give us a little tutorial on how to service a car.
What we have here is a regular service. So what we have to do first is make sure the engine oil is topped up to the correct level. We'll do this by, on this Mercedes here, we'll take the dipstick out, we wipe it clean, and on here, between the orange portions, it needs to be topped up between the orange portions, between the maximum and the minimum. So once that's done.
So did you add oil on there at the moment? And why did you add oil first?
We added oil just to keep it between the maximum and minimum, the recommended level. And if we require the top up, we just put it through here.
Right. So this is the first act. You're trying to clean the engine, the oil, using a flush, correct?
Yeah.
Have you put the flush in yet? Not yet. And this is the flush.
Yeah.
So you're letting the oil.
We let the oil warm up.
Yeah,
let the engine warm up to its normal upping temperature. Once it's raised to the temperature, we'll get the engine flush here and follow the recommended steps given, which is pour the entire container into the engine and allow it to idle for 20 minutes. So we'll take this off and we just pour it in. I've already poured this in. So just for demonstration, we just whatever's remaining,
right.
Few drops.
And should that be done with every servicing, or do you only do this when it's required? And how would you know it's required?
It's recommended if to do on every service to ensure that all of the grime inside is properly cleared out.
Right. Okay. Cool. Fantastic. So while this is warming up now, what's the next step? What can you do in the meantime? The engine's running.
It's not much right now on this particular vehicle because everything is hidden underneath. The oil filter is underneath. So we'll have to wait until this is over. Then we're going to drain the oil and change the oil filter from underneath.
Right, so it's been about 20 minutes and we've actually turned the engine off. And which means, how are you going to check now if it's done the job?
The next step is to drain the oil. We can see how it's performed by the color of the oil.
Right.
Often you're gonna see it's a very dark color because this is a petrol engine.
Right.
Normally the engine oil color shouldn't be very dark if it's serviced regularly. We'll see the condition of the oil after we drained it.
Right. So this is a fluid evacuator device. So what it means is, instead of going underneath your engine, you could actually insert the tube into the oil and drain the thing out, which is quite cool. I don't think you would want to buy this just to do oil change, but how much does this cost?
This particular one was about £50.
£50. Well, I guess if you're going to be servicing a lot of cars, it might be worth it because you don't need to go to jack up the car, and you can drain all the oil out if the pump works. So you're taking out the dipstick.
Yeah, we'll take out the dipstick, insert the tube of the pump.
Take the pump tube, stick it in there.
As far as it goes. As far as it goes. That's it.
And when you
We've hit rock bottom.
You hit rock bottom.
Now we start.
Is this a manual pump?
This is a manual pump. Yeah.
Do you have electric ones as well?
I don't personally.
Right. So now we're pumping.
As you can see, the oil is coming out.
Yep. We
Quite
have
slow.
movement. Draining.
So we're doing something right here.
Fantastic. So the oil hopefully is going to collect into this cylindrical recipient. Is there movement? Looks like there is. Yeah. Yeah, as you can see from the bottom, it's starting to get darker, which means the dark bad fluid is now gradually filling it. So do you need to continuously pump this?
No. Just to build enough pressure, and then it will pump out by itself.
So it's not pumping out, just a few pumps at the beginning. It builds enough pressure, and now hopefully it should drain the whole thing out.
Yep, that's correct.
Fantastic.
And we'll get back to you once this has been drained out fully.
So apart from the obviously the ease of access from outside, from the top, what other advantages do you have from using a manual pump?
There are many advantages to using a pump than using a traditional method, which is to remove the drain bolt and remove the oil that way. If you're working especially with an older vehicle, chances are that the drain bolt has either been very over tightened, or it might have been cross-threaded or rusted. So in which case it would be near impossible or very difficult to remove. And once removed, it might be very difficult to put it back on because the threads are damaged. So in this case, we avoid all that problem, and we don't need to worry about getting new bolts or doing rethreading. So that's some of the major advantages. It's also very clean work. You don't get your hands dirty or the floor.
So if you wanted to multitask while this is being done, because obviously a waste of time, what could you do in the meantime to make use of all the time that you have?
Not this on this specific vehicle, we can't really do much because everything is hidden away. But on other vehicles, we can do many things. We can change the spark plugs, and we can change the air filter at the same time while the oil is being pumped out.
Yep. One last question. So the car is not jacked up level right now. So one side is up, one side is down. Does that cause a problem in terms of draining the fluid? Will there be residual fluid remaining in there?
Yeah, that is an issue. What we'll do is once we're gonna put the car back down to level ground and use the pump for a few more times and check if there's any more oil left inside. In this way, we ensure all of the oil is drained out.
It looks like the pump is closing to an end, and there is a different sound, and let's see if you can catch some of that sound. Which is an indicator that the engine oil is
The tube is clear.
Ending.
You can see that the tube is clear. There's no oil flow.
So the tube, it's clearer now. There's no black oil anymore. He's giving it a couple of more pumps. If you can hear the sound,
Air bubble.
the air bubbles coming out right now. That means the engine is emptying, and there's still some residual one coming through maybe, but yeah, looks clear.
Put this back on level ground and just give it a few more pumps.
Right. So just to make sure that all the oil come out, we are jacking the car back down to make it level. So the rest, and give it a few more pumps, and the rest of the oil should be drained, hopefully. A few more pumps, just to drain the whole thing completely. Yep, there are still some oil coming out. That's cool.
So that's the end of draining of the oil. Next step is to locate the oil filter and change it. Another advantage of using a pump is you know exactly how much you've taken out. So when you're topping up, there is no guesswork of how much oil you need to put back in. So in our case is just on 7 liters. That's 6 liter mark, and then we have the 8 liters, so that's 7 liters. So that's exactly how much we're going to put in. Oil filter is right behind the engine itself. If you can see, I'll show some light on it. Hopefully it's coming up on the camera. Yeah. You can see is a socket which is size 27. Size 27 socket. And we have the ratchet and sockets assembly with the extension connected. We connect the extension to enable ease of access. So once we've removed this, we'll get back to you. It's a size 27 socket.
So using a size 27 ratchet socket.
Yeah, ratchet socket with a combination of extension bars.
Apply some force anti-clockwise. Try and undo the, is it called nut?
The
cap nut.
Yeah, the oil filter cap.
The oil filter cap. Are you doing anti-clockwise or clockwise?
We are doing anti-clockwise.
Right. So this step is now locating the oil filter cap to try and change the oil filter, which in this case is a paper type. And gently removing the oil filter cap, making sure nothing drops. And you may have a little issue with these top cables being in the way, so I'm not sure whether we can pull this through, or we probably need to loosen up these top cables. Not going through? So what's the plan? Can you nudge it out in a different direction, or do we need to loosen up these top cables?
We at the moment trying to find another way out, or we might just need to drop it from the bottom. Yep, that's
right. So that was pulled through from underneath.
From here. You see my hand?
From here, yeah, we can see your hand. Okay,
yeah. Just pull out
and pull it out this way.
Easiest way out.
Probably less work to be done. Otherwise, you'll have to take these cables out. Right. And so this is the oil filter.
This is the old
filter. So I can see the old filter.
Yeah, as you can see, the oil filter just sits in as a paper filter. This is the bottom end. This is the top end.
Right. So we're going to change that. Brilliant.
But before we change, we ensure that the inside is cleaned properly, and all the old oil is thoroughly removed.
Okay,
we're ready for the unboxing of the filter. Right, it comes with, let's see what it comes with. We've got the paper element. We'll set this aside here, and it comes in with 2 O-rings, one large one and one small one. The small one we won't need in this case. The larger O-ring will be replacing this O-ring here on the cap itself. And let's do this. Let's fit the paper element in. All you have to do is just insert these ends inside here, rotate it until you can feel it's sitting in, and then give it a push. Now it's secure. All it will do is turn, but it won't come out. Now what we can do is remove this cap O-ring. You might need some help using a flat screwdriver, which I will just go and get right now. Just return with the flat screwdriver. Removing the O-ring. Loosen the O-ring. And here we go, the old O-ring. Take out the new one from the package. As I've said, they're given two O-rings, a large one and a small one. In this case, we won't need the small one. We'll fit the new O-ring just as the way we've taken the old one out. Might be a little fiddly, but we'll get there with the help of a flat screwdriver.
Yep, coming. As you can see, guys, very amateuristic filming right now because we're not professional at this. But anyway, we've got to start somewhere, so hopefully stay tuned. And my friend here is probably going to start his own YouTube channel about car mechanic repair, so get in touch with him.
Yeah, as you can see, the O-ring sits right at the bottom. These are the threads, and the O-ring sits at the bottom here. Hopefully it comes up on the camera. Just push it down into its seat. And what we'll do now is just apply a little bit of oil to the O-ring to give it a good seal. So we'll get the new oil, and I just liberally apply some around the new O-ring. That's enough. And we will carefully return this back to where it came from.
So still using the ratchet.
Yep.
And you're going to go straight in through the hole because we weren't able to earlier.
Yeah, that's correct.
Guess we're going to have to do some under the...
So we're just seating the oil filter back in its place. This is the important part. We'll make sure we hand thread it in first before we use our ratchet and socket assembly to avoid cross threading and damaging the threads, which in this case will be very, very expensive to repair. So once it's threaded in by hand until you cannot turn it no more, we use the ratchet and socket assembly and just give it, tighten it until it's snug. No need to over tighten here.
So could you use a funnel?
Yeah, we can use a purpose made funnel, or you can adapt a bottle, cut the end of the bottle and use that as a funnel if you don't have one in hand. Or if you're careful enough, you might just be able to get away with it and just pour the oil slowly. So just now we've just poured an entire can of 5 liters of engine oil. We're just going to check what's happened. Just going to take out the dipstick, give it a wipe, insert it back in carefully, take it straight back out, and we're just going to check what's happened to the oil level. As you can see, it's barely on the just above the minimum mark. Hopefully you can see that it's just above the minimum mark, so we have a little way to go.
So how much more would you want to put in? Another half a can, like 2.5 liters, or would you put less to check again?
We're just going to put a liter at a time, just to check the levels slowly, so we don't want to be taking out oil again. So far we have put in a total of 6 liters. We're just going to check the oil level, what's happened. Alright, hopefully you can see that on the camera, but the sun might not be able to, you might not be able to see it because it's new oil as well. We're actually seeing that the oil is above the maximum mark. We know previously that we've taken out 7 liters, so we should be able to put 7 liters back. Most important thing here to note is that we haven't actually started the engine to allow the oil to flow into the new oil filter, which will bring this level back down, and then we can check what happened to the level. We've just allowed the engine to idle for 2 minutes, and we've allowed another couple of minutes for the oil to drain back down to the sump. This to ensure we don't get a false reading. Now we're just going to take a measurement of the oil. As we can see, the oil mark is at the halfway mark, which is a good level to keep at. Previously we saw that the oil mark was above the maximum, but now it's gone back down after circulating the new oil. It's gone back down to the correct level. This ends our oil and filter change tutorial. Right now we're gonna change the air filter. So the air filter is located under this ECU. To access the air filter, we need to take out 2 bolts, 2 screws. They're T20 screws. There's one here and there's one here. We've already taken one out to save some time, and we've already unscrewed this one. So it's a T20 screw. So we've already taken out. All we do now, this one just is on a hinge at the rear here. We just lift it up and just lift up like so. As you can see, the air filter is right here. There's a little lever here. We need to press this lever and then pull the air filter back
Forward. Pull it towards you.
Pull it towards yourself and lift up the air filter. Here we have the air filter assembly in its case. Okay, so first of all we need to remove this from its housing. All we do is just turn it over, pull the back end. Remember, this side is the back end. We just give it a good pull. Put this to one side. Here we have the new air filter. Just take out the packaging. Make sure it's the right size. When you get your parts, it's actually the same size. We return it how you've taken off. So we insert the air filter back into the housing. Ensure all of the edges are pushed in correctly. Right, we're going to return the air filter back into its box. So this is the correct way. You'll know this is the lever here. It should be facing towards the car. We return it, slide it down, and then just gently push it back in its place. Now it's secured. We return the ECU cover back on top. And just tighten it down with our screws that we have, which were 20 Torx 20. Just return the screws back.
And that concludes our air filter change for now. What we've left with is the spark plugs change, which we're not going to do right now, so we're going to see you back in a few minutes.
Alright guys and girls, today we're going to be changing the spark plugs on this vehicle that we've been working on. On this vehicle is a bit difficult, quite difficult to change the plugs. If we take it to the garage, they're gonna do a lot of work on it just to remove the plugs, but I'm going to show you the easiest way and the cheapest way to do. What we're going to need is a mirror and a torch and pair of hands, and also with a ratchet. This This comes with the 16 millimeters size. It's especially designed for spark plug socket. Alright guys, I'm going to show you the exact location of where the plugs are. For this we're going to need a mirror and a torch, a good torch. So what we're going to do is get a assistant, put my lights on, and then put the mirror, just slide it down. I'll just get back to you. Let me put that at a right angle for you. If you bring the if you come down here, you can see there's some HT leads. There's two right now. The lights are shining on two HT leads, and the shiny metal bits, they're the actual leads that connects to these plugs. So all you have to do is to remove them is just use the mirror to guide your hands to the leads itself, and just pull them out with your hands. You don't need any special tools for this. Okay. You can use the mirror to guide your hands to the spark plug leads. But for me personally, I just use the mirror to find the location of the plugs, and then I just feel my way. But if you need to use the mirror, you can use a clamp and just hang it down at the right angle that suits you. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove one of the leads. That wasn't so difficult.
Did you remove it?
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah, you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one of the leads.
Okay.
So just do this for all of them. They're right next to each other, so you won't have much problems with that. Yeah. Yeah. Now guys, we've just removed one of the plugs. Here's an example of a very bad condition. You can actually see there's a lot of carbon buildup on this plug here. If you wanna,
yeah, it's fine.
So we're gonna replace it with a new one, nice shiny one. We're just gonna do the reverse order of how we removed it.
Yeah. Smile.